All right, ladies and gentlemen, coming to you live from Kansas City. Welcome to Buck and Bob Take on Chiefs Kingdom, a podcast for fans by fans, bringing you the latest news, analysis, and spirited discussions about what's happening around Chiefs Kingdom.
I'm Buck. I'm a lifelong Chiefs fan with a passion for yelling at the refs and coaches via the TV.
And I'm Bob, your go-to guy for bad takes and a knack for pissing off listeners.
And me sometimes. Together, we bring a unique blend of expertise, enthusiasm, and fan perspective to every episode. So whether you're a diehard Chiefs supporter or you just love the game of football, join us as we dive into the world of the Kansas City Chiefs.
All right. Yeah, so this episode, we're still starting. We're still not knowing exactly what to cover and when to cover, but we got a lot of ring coverage coming up here, and yeah, but we're just waiting for
a lot to cover.
We're waiting for the season to start. I can't wait to have some episodes where we're breaking down games and everything. I think that's going to be the bread and butter, but I think after that, we'll have formulated a better way to do the off-season episodes as we move forward. But yeah, we're here to stay, and we're here to start out. So yeah, the latest news. You just want to go over the injury reports?
Yeah, so the tight end B.J. Thompson, he was released from the hospital on June 10th, which is fantastic news. They haven't really given us too much after that, but I would take that as a good thing. I think
and just for the
listeners, no news is good news at this point, I believe.
Okay, just for the listeners, this is the guy that had a seizure on field during practice, right?
Yep, he did, and it was unfortunate. They canceled the rest of the practice, but yeah, as we said, he was released, and since then, no news is good news. Do you agree?
Yeah, definitely.
I think if there was any bad news, it would definitely be updated. So,
yeah, but I still don't know, how he'll be able to. I don't know that he's going to be
able to be effective
the lineup. Yeah.
Well, we'll keep a close eye on it. We're definitely interested in how that ends up. So we're not always just about the Kansas City Chiefs as a football team. Sometimes we care about the people there too. So as long as he's got a Chiefs uniform on, I think we're gonna root for the guy. So.
Well, and Andy Reid seems to think he'll be available at the beginning of the regular season, which is crazy to me, but maybe that's the case.
Yep, absolutely. And speaking of regular season, we've talked about Joe Thuney a couple of times as far as being hurt through the postseason, and he will be ready. Andy Reid said he'll be ready for the beginning of the season also. So I think that's great news. I think at this point they're probably just treating him with kid gloves right now. Just they don't want to re-injure him. Let him come back slowly. No need to overdo it.
Yeah, well, the next news isn't exactly an injury report, but it's a player update. Isaiah Buggs, you guys might remember he, a few weeks back, was charged with a pretty severe, I'm not sure the different levels, but a pretty severe case of animal cruelty. I think the highest level of animal cruelty you could be charged with. And we were giving him the benefit of the doubt because he said that he was renting this property and he had no idea the dogs were left there.
Yeah.
And as someone who grew up with a dad in real estate, I mean, we had one guy, he cemented in our house's fireplace that we were renting to him. He had run fiber optic cabling through the entire house.
You're welcome.
Fiber optic video cabling for video cameras across the entire house. He was a professor at UMKC, and turned out he was running a child pornography uh, whole deal, and he had great credentials. Like anything my dad ran through, like came back good. Like so, you never know what people are doing in your rental properties because you're not allowed to just walk in them. Like maybe some real estate people do. I don't know, but you're not just allowed legally to walk in there and just look at everything like until they're out of the house. So I was giving him the benefit of the doubt for that. But then he got arrested again for domestic abuse, and supposedly, allegedly, he basically dragged his baby's mama. I don't think it's his wife, but the mother of his child down some stairs, and she had scratch marks on her. There's like, check out the police report if you want the actual report. We're not reporting on that, right. But he he had just tweeted out a day prior that he was proud of being a good father and stuff. Like, it was a very weird take, but either way, too much, too fast for someone who the Chiefs added him at the end of last year, right before the Super Bowl. He was cut from the Lions after, having a little bit of success in his career there, and he looked like someone who could have gotten into the rotation. He wasn't going to be a starter or anything, so it makes sense that they're dropping him now because there's just too much. Like, you've got to keep your name out of the media, and this isn't a Rashee Rice thing where there's a whole lot of upside to like giving it a chance. They're just getting rid of him, and I thought they'd get rid of him for the dog thing, just because he was like basically the fifth defensive lineman coming in. But they gave him a chance, and then I mean, dude, you got like, what are you doing?
It blows my mind. It's weird. We come from a different world, so in our minds, he's got this amazing opportunity, and why would you fuck it up by doing something like that? But you never know what the guy's going through, and you never know if there's substances that are playing tricks on his mind too. You just don't know. I wish the guy well, but I wish him well someplace else. I hope he gets his stuff together for the sake of his family and his kid.
You are way more forgiving than me, because I'm just like, I don't care. You have an opportunity that is unbelievable. As Warren Sapp said, you're getting paid a king's ransom to play a kid's game.
Well, he's not anymore.
Yeah. Well, I mean, NFL players, seriously, like, your privilege is up there. Yeah. So enjoy it.
Even the bottom of the barrel.
Take advantage of it. Yeah, absolutely. The bottom of the barrel, you make more than the majority of the United States. So, yeah.
Very, very high percentage, yeah.
Yeah. Like, quit being assholes.
Yeah, be more like Mahomes.
And not Mahomes' brother.
Yeah.
Okay, well, you have a lot on the ring.
Man, so I did a little research on the ring, and kept coming.
Hold on. Now, when we talk about the ring, we're not talking about the one ring to rule them all from Lord of the Rings. We're talking about the Super Bowl rings that are awarded to the Chiefs players, and now this is their third one in, 5 years, 6 years. And, it's got a lot of stuff to it. So Jason over here, Buck, decided to look into all the stuff going into the ring, and Jesus, I'm just going to let him take over.
I mean, I just did a quick search for the Super Bowl ring, and the last year's came up, and it took me a minute to realize that I was looking at the wrong one. But it's just, they have to go bigger. When you win 2 Super Bowls in a row, you can't do the same size. It's not like your franchise just won, so you can do the same size as last year's Super Bowl winner, whoever it was. You have to go up, and when they win again next year, it's going to get even crazier. But I don't want to skip ahead too far here, but over 500 diamonds in these rings. It's ridiculous. So there's a whole theme around the rings and what all went into it. Around the rim, there's 22 diamonds, and they all represent something, right? So the 22 diamonds represents the second half and the overtime points to win the Super Bowl. And then each player has their number, and that number is embossed with diamonds, which does beg the question a little bit. I don't know if you think about it. For instance, Mahomes is the number 15, right? So a number 1 and a number 5. It's going to allow so many diamonds inside that. What about McKinnon? Wasn't he number 1? So he doesn't have the 5 to have all those. So his has to have less diamonds. Maybe the extra space around there is filled in with the extra diamonds. I don't know. But
although he's not number 1 now, though. Didn't Hollywood take over?
Yeah, I believe so. Yeah. But for the Super Bowl, he was number 1. I think.
Yep.
But yeah, so each player has their numbers in Boston Diamonds. There's another 19 diamonds, which is going to represent the 11 consecutive winning seasons and the 8th consecutive AFC West title. It goes on. 11 princess cut rubies, which is going to represent the 11 wins for the season. 4 more.
It's crazy to think we only had 11 wins.
It really is, yeah.
That's
with
so
a 17-win game. But if you, there was a, what was it, an 8-game streak where they lost 5? I mean, it was a really rough middle of the season.
Oh, dude, I remember walking around Kansas City and everybody telling me, we're done.
Yeah, they might not make it to the playoffs.
I was like, I think I just kind of waited out, guys. Everybody doomed so fast.
I mean, I was definitely on the side of dooming fast. But with an understanding that we just won it last year and we're probably going to be in contention again for it next year, so it wasn't a big deal.
Well, I think you've grown a lot as a football fan, though, because I remember when we first played Madden, and you thought if it wasn't a sack or a stop for a loss, your defense didn't do their job.
That was a failure.
I was like, dude, that's not how it works, man.
I would end the games against computers with negative 10 yards, and this was on all Madden. I mean,
but that wasn't the way it worked when you played players. No, you were always like, "There's bullshit."
That was hard to do, man. That was hard to take. It's a hard game. Yeah. So we got the 4 marquee diamonds. We got the world champions, which is spelled out, and guess what that's spelled out with? It's 39 diamonds. There's 39 diamonds in the word world, which represents the 39 touchdowns scored last season. And then in the word championship, there's 70 diamonds. And that represents the 10 points scored in the 3 playoff games before the Super Bowl.
This is kind of cool because I never really knew so much went into the Super Bowl rings.
I'm glad you think it's kind of cool because I got a lot more, man. Which is barely. I mean, there's everything. So there's another 50 diamonds that represent the fact that they outscored opponents, and this is awesome. They outscored opponents at home for the season by a total of 50 points. That's a lot. That's a lot of points. I mean, we're not talking about close games. What was it, 8 home games?
Well, I mean, just the Chiefs were holding people to an average of like 14 to 21 points per game. Every team, so I mean, the defense was killing it.
It's funny you mentioned that. There's a little foreshadowing there with another part of the ring a little bit later. We'll get to that in a second. So we got 58 more diamonds, and that's a nod to the Super Bowl 58. And I'm sure they just had to add a few more diamonds in there, so why not? 16 custom cut rubies, and that forms the KC. Which adds a little bit of color to the middle of the ring, right? So you got all these diamonds, and it just looks like ice and frost everywhere. So it's nice to add a little bit of color. It really pops if you take a look at that, a picture of that. Then you got another 19 baguette diamonds, which represent the first team in 19 years to win back-to-back. And those actually form so the diamonds are shaped in the form of the Lombardi Trophy, and so the baguette diamonds are like the pillar of that before it gets to the football. Which
Okay, so they're actually shaped like a baguette.
yeah,
like
yeah. It's a
long
baguette. Yeah, just
piece
like
of
you would
bread.
think. Yep. Mm-hmm.
Interesting. Okay.
Yeah, it's really cool. So then we got another 28 more diamonds to honor the defense that didn't allow more than 28 points in any game last season. So that's what we were foreshadowing to there.
Wow.
Yeah, so that's really cool. We're about halfway there. So the 4 championship years engraved on the gold on a golden banner. So 69 we won, and 19, and then 22 and 23. And then this is really cool. This is something that no other team can do. There's a little 142.2 which is engraved to represent the loudest fans in the world. If you remember a few years back, we had the contest with Seattle, and they kept bumping it up a little bit. It was a fun little contest. I know it was doctored. If you talk to the people in the stands that were there, they took a bunch of women into a tunnel and they put the microphones right there because women can be louder in a with the higher pitch. Shows up on a decibel meter better. So, but still, they did the same thing in Seattle, and we still won. So, I mean,
Seattle's stadiums have actually built to be louder than the Chiefs Stadium. The reason the Chiefs Stadium is so loud, and hopefully, if we go to a new stadium, we'll maybe talk about that here a little bit later. But the reason it's so loud is because the field is a certain amount below sea level, and therefore it makes the echoing much more intense. You'll see that at any time if you go and do a Chiefs Arrowhead tour, which you should be really doing now because most likely Arrowhead Stadium's going to be gone. You should be doing those tours now so you at least get to see everything that was. Yeah. Because even Lamar Hunt had a whole apartment built into the middle of the stadium that you might not even know about if you don't know about Chiefs stadium history. So there's a whole basic suite built into the stands that you would not even have a clue existed. So I would definitely say check out that. Sorry, tangent.
It was a good tangent. We needed it. So then to keep going here, so every ring, all the captains had a C engraved. So Mahomes has the C on his, and then Mahomes also has the MVP on his, which is cool. So he's the only one that has that, obviously. So then that's the outside of the ring, right? So the ring also has a locket function.
More?
Yeah, the ring has a locket function, like it opens up like a little door, a little trap door. On the inside of that trap door, on the underside, like one of those fun rings from the 70s,
or what's his name? Hugh Hefner's Viagra ring.
Yes, the Viagra
where
ring.
He had one little Viagra.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
Okay,
yeah. So on the underside lid of that is an engraving of the X's and O's style of the winning play, the play that they scored the touchdown on. With the X's and O's and the little arrows like Andy Reid draws up. I think that's a really cool touch. And then on the opposite side of that is 17 mini gold leaf confetti shaped in little Lombardi trophies to celebrate the 17 points scored in the AFC Championship game.
Nope. See, the dog's excited about that too.
He loves him some Chiefs talk. And then each ring was also then embossed with 1 to 4 Lombardi trophies, depending on the tenure with the team. So Mahomes had 3 Lombardi trophies on his because he was with the team for 3. So my guess is Clark Kuntz probably has 4, and his maybe 1 or 2 others probably have 4, but most of the team was there for 1, 2, or 3. But that's a cool little touch too. Depending, it's a personal touch.
So crazy. I've never looked into all of the intricacies of the ring.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the ring. And then the inside of the ring, the part that's that actually touches your skin when you wear it, has the final scores from all 4 postseason games, along with the player's actual signature, and the commemorative patch for Norma Hunt, and there's another commemorative patch for the founder, Lamar Hunt.
Well, and the typo.
Yeah, and the typo's in there too.
The typo for the Miami standings.
It's such a silly little typo. I know they talked about fixing it. Forget about it. It's nothing. It wasn't even about the score. It was 7th seed instead of 6th seed. They were actually the 6th seed, and it says 7th. Who cares?
Tyreek cares.
Well, Tyreek can care all the way to the bank.
Yep, he's caring about leaving the Chiefs right now.
Yep. So, yeah, all in all, a total of 505 round diamonds, 19 baguette diamonds, 5 marquee diamonds, and 38 custom cut rubies. That's a total of 14.8 carats. That's a lot of carats.
Dude, it's
a lot of
crazy to think about it. And so
40 to 45,000.
So okay,
estimated cost.
Yeah, the cost for each ring was 40 to 45,000, and we were talking. I guess the NFL, like, what did you find that the NFL chips in as far as you found? People can correct us in comments. Emails,
yeah, this was just a quick search, nothing official, but it was $5,000 that they pay for up to 150 rings, which multiplied out, that's about 750,000. So they'll cover anything more than that. The Chiefs had to pay for. So that was roughly $4.5 million that Clark Hunt had to fork out, and I guarantee you he'd gladly do it again next year when it's a bigger ring.
Yeah, I mean, that's why everybody shits on them, thinking they're just rich, and with the whole stadium talks and everything else.
Yeah.
But they do take care of everybody, and I know people are talking about the Chiefs practice facilities and all this stuff but honestly, dude, we do not have the worst practice facilities. It's literally, we're just the ones under the microscope the most.
You know what, man? Yeah, that's a good point. People shit on the owners constantly. It's always, everything's the owner's fault. And it may be, but I think here in Kansas City, we are really lucky. The Hunt family is a fantastic family. They've done so much good for the city in sports, outside of sports. I mean, I know it's tax write-offs, right? There's always reasons for it, but they have a heart. I mean, spend an hour, Google Clark Hunt, Google the Hunt family. You won't be disappointed. I mean, they're just
story,
kind of like the
history.
Kaufmans were. You know what I mean? With the Royals, it just embossed in the city, and they love the city, and they're here for the long run.
Yep, but they're not going to be stupid.
They're right. Absolutely.
Like, the reason rich people stay rich is because they're not stupid, and they know the value of what they bring, and they bring a lot of value. Like, there wouldn't be talks of stadium upgrades and everything else if they were the Lions. Like, that wouldn't be a conversation. But Clark Hunt went the extra mile to get Andy Reid years back. He literally flew to the airport that he was at and grabbed Andy, was like, hey, I'm going to give you a ride faster on my private plane here so I can give you a pitch while you're going to your next interview for your next coaching job.
I remember hearing it that day. I remember I was listening to the radio, and they said Clark Hunt is meeting with Andy Reid, and I poo-pooed it. There was no way I was going to allow myself to enjoy the possibility that we might get the great Andy Reid. There was no way. And then it happened. I was like, I felt like a schoolboy. I'm reliving it right now, like the excitement.
Me and your boy Adam, and no one except for maybe Adam, if he actually finds this podcast, will even know this. But Adam, we remember him, my IT partner.
Oh, that Adam. Okay,
yeah. Him and I were super excited about it, and like really hoping. And we call it in gaming, we call it copium or hopium, and it's where you're basically hoping for something or just like making excuses for something in the attempt to like make it feel more a better thing than it is. But we were totally
almost like hoping for the best case scenario.
Yeah. We were totally just in awe of like, okay, he's going after him. And that's what he did. And in doing that, and then in hiring, he did have faults. He did screw up. He did hire Pioli, but Pioli was the best guy for GM at the time. Like, he made sense. He's actively working on making the team better, and he should be paid off for that. And that's what a lot of people don't understand. And I mean, Lamar Hunt, I don't know, he was an amazing man for the majority of his life, but at the end there, I don't know that he actually understood the game, how it had changed enough, and like you could say Al Saunders for the Raiders was the same way. It just like the game passed them by and they didn't understand enough to actually make the right decisions. And I mean, Clark Hunt, ever since he's come in, has been amazing in his decision making to get the right people in the right roles
and then let them do their work.
Yeah.
Let them do their job.
Yeah. And he's made fails, but he's went the extra mile to get those guys. I mean, most owners aren't like that.
No, we're so lucky.
Yeah, we really are so really lucky. I mean, honestly, Jerry Jones, in my opinion, is even though he's one of the most idiotic owners, he's one of the best owners because he really cares. He makes bad choices.
I think he cares too much, and that's his downfall.
Maybe, but he makes bad choices, but he cares.
Which is a Cowboys hater. I absolutely love to watch, man. Absolutely love it.
Well, but he cares, whereas a lot of owners don't care. And
they're in it for a paycheck.
So, like, that's why we are in such a good position. And then Kansas City sports, like Clark's daughters are all into it, like helping, the first women's soccer stadium. I mean, we're in the glory years, guys. That's why we're starting a podcast. So we're excited to talk about it. We're the glory years of Kansas City sports.
There's a word.
Yeah.
There's a word. Dynasty. That's right. Dynasty. We're in the middle of a dynasty. And if you don't think we're in a dynasty, then you're not watching. You don't know what you're talking about. I did think of a question, though. While you were talking, you kind of ranting there, and it's just a little off subject, but not really. If Andy Reid decided today, I'm done. You know what? I've had enough. I'm just getting old, whatever. Yeah, I know it's not going to happen. It's not happening, right? But if it did, is he the GOAT? Is he go down as the greatest coach in the history of the game? He's definitely in the top 3, right? Right? We got, Belichick, obviously.
Unfortunately, Belichick.
But hold on, there is a massive argument. When you get rid of Tom Brady and you get rid of Patrick Mahomes, let's compare those two. It's not even close. It's not even a comparison. Belichick, he's not even in a top echelon of coaches at that point. He's in a bottom.
Well, unfortunately.
Horrible.
Unfortunately for Belichick, he did horrible with the Browns before he came to the Patriots. Then he didn't do great until Tom Brady popped in. But
accidentally.
It's hard. It's hard for everybody says Tom Brady is the reason, but it's hard for me to believe that because there's no way a 7th round pick that came in Tom Brady was barking orders at Bill Belichick. Like maybe that happened later on, but they didn't win those first few years because of Tom Brady. I have there's no way I could believe that Tom Brady would have had the balls at that time because he literally fought and scraped
100%.
for everything he ever got.
I absolutely agree with you. But Tom Brady obviously had the tools, right? He just didn't necessarily know it, and Bill Belichick didn't necessarily know it. And so they had to figure out the tools. They had to dig them out of him. They had to work him into but he had to have that potential. It had to be there, right? It had to be there. Look at all the other quarterbacks that have never made it. Mac Jones. He had Mac Jones, who was supposed to be the next best great guy, and he just couldn't pull out of Mac Jones what he needed, or any other quarterback that he's worked with, any other quarterback. So he was great in pulling that out of Tom Brady, but that was already in Tom Brady.
I don't know that the team building was still there after Tom left. And I don't know what kind of trouble they got themselves in cap space and stuff throughout that time.
Sure, there's a lot to be said about that. But, when it all comes down to it, we're not talking about a little sample size here either. When we're talking about without Mahomes and without Brady, we're not talking about 2 or 3 games. We're talking about almost an entire career, but without these great quarterbacks. Mahomes has been around for 7 years now? So Reed has been around for how many years? I mean, we're in the 30s, right?
Well, he's going on his 7th year. He sat for that first year. Yeah.
So 20, 25 years in football, that's a lot of time without Patrick Mahomes. And he went to the championship game
won with multiple quarterbacks.
He did. And what has Belichick done?
Well, Belichick, like his fame, I think, comes from
Tom Brady.
Well, I think it comes from not just Tom. Tom did the work in the trenches, but man, Belichick would come up with ways that his defense. I mean, I think Tom controlled the offense and Bill controlled the defense, and I think it worked out really well in a lot of different situations. They were able to like find a spot in between. Sometimes the Patriots won with offense. Sometimes they won with defense. And I think Andy Reid's crew is doing that now, and they've shown that we can do the same thing the Patriots did. We can win with defense some years because we did it this last year. And I think that's what's huge about Andy's showing, because in Philadelphia, I mean, he showed stout defense and awesome offense. And that was like Philly's way. And they did a really good job of like keeping good players on and being a contender every year. But now for the Chiefs, I mean, he's been dominant on one side of the ball regardless every year that he's been coaching since the first maybe 2 years. Like the first 2 years he was building his crew, and but yeah, I think he definitely does beat out Belichick, but I don't know, man. Belichick's currently 70 years old and he's got a 24-year-old girlfriend. I mean, Andy's going to have to step his game up a little bit.
I think Andy's happy.
Yeah, Andy's got a loving wife, and he's definitely better off than having a 24-year-old girlfriend. But you still got to give him props.
Yeah, no. I mean, give him props.
Have you heard about this?
No, he's a 7.
You haven't heard about this?
No, but it doesn't surprise me.
He's dating a college cheerleader. I'm not kidding you.
I would too. I would absolutely do. I mean, same thing when I was growing up, and my dad had. He didn't buy me a car, but he had an extra car. He let me drive. And, my friends made fun of me because, you let your dad buy you a car. You're an idiot. Yeah, absolutely. I have a car handed to me. Absolutely. I have a 24-year-old college cheerleader that wants to date me. Duh. I mean,
it's so funny.
He was caught
on a Ring camera. You could find video footage of him sneaking out of her apartment with his shirt off. It's so funny, dude.
It would be awesome if I picture him wearing his like shirtless Patriots hoodie, and like with the hood up over it and the string drawn like this, but still wearing the Patriots hoodie.
It's the whole joke. When I was living in LA at 25, working for Weed Road Productions, I remember making the joke to people. Well, if I don't marry for love by the age 50, then my current wife was born yesterday. Or then my future wife was born yesterday. And I didn't mean it. It was like a gross joke. But luckily, a year later, I found the love of my life, and I didn't have to deal with that.
Yeah, she's okay.
That loneliness. But you know what, Bill? You haven't found one, so yeah. Props, bro. I mean,
I'm gonna be honest. I thought the guy was married for a long time. I really did.
he was dating. I forget her name. But he was dating somebody while. Yeah, this is a whole other controversy. He was dating someone while he was like he met this girl on a plane. I don't know why we're talking Patriots. I mean, we don't really have a whole lot to talk about. Yeah. So
other than Taylor Swift.
Yeah, so yeah, it's so funny because he met her on a plane, and I guess he really loved her, her like paper. She was talking about her paper on logic or logistics.
She could have been talking about astronomy in New Zealand. Like, it wouldn't have mattered. She looks like she looks, and he was like, blah, 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 blah.
I can't believe you haven't heard of this because it's been all over the media the last few days.
I wouldn't care.
He's just like, it's so funny.
I mean, good for him.
And people, oh man, The View, they hate her. They hate him, and they're like, he's almost 3 times her age.
Who cares?
Yeah, it's just like, dude,
who cares?
Who cares?
Like, if he's happy and she's happy, obviously it's not love, but he's getting what he wants. I mean, she's getting what she wants.
We don't know it's not love.
Sure,
but
it could be.
She's definitely getting to live a life she wouldn't get to live.
They're both
without dating. Yeah, and I mean,
no hate on her, no hate on him.
Yeah, I don't judge anybody. That's for other people to do.
What? My mom loves to say, life's too short. Just go for it, man. Absolutely. 100%. Good for you, Bill. Maybe we should hire him as a consultant here in Kansas City.
Well, did you hear him when he did a little bit of commentary during the draft, and he was absolutely fantastic at doing it. I heard it, and I was like, wait, is this the same Bill Belichick? Because all I ever heard from him when he was a coach was Seattle. But Bill, have you heard about this? Seattle next week. Not not last week, not the week after Seattle. Or he'd be Green Bay.
Whoever he's playing.
And he'd literally repeat that. And you didn't even think he was a very big intellectual from those. But then he goes on and he goes on these different casts for the drafts, and he's just like, he's got a good arm. He's going to need to work on this. I was just like, whoa, who is this guy? I mean, I guess it's the same with Mel. Help me out. Patriots player, white wide receiver.
Wes Welker. Edelman.
Stop. Edelman. Yeah. Okay, so Edelman was the same in interviews. He sounded like an idiot. Then he comes out after he retires, and he's one of my favorite broadcasters to ever come out of the NFL.
He's got a pretty good podcast.
Yeah, he's amazing. Yeah. And so it's funny to see how these guys mask their personalities and their actual acquiesce. Is it? No, that's not.
And honestly, I think that's one of the things that Bill Belichick does the best is playing with the minds of his opponents, and
I mean, it's
hiding things better than any other team.
He was the one that started the whole
we can't find any real updates on Chiefs injuries right now because they don't have to. They don't have to put it out there, so why would they? But that whole mindset started from Bill Belichick and deflating footballs or something like that. So, next. As far as other news that we have, like I kind of alluded to, there's just a whole lot of how does Taylor Swift affect the Chiefs? Who cares? Who cares? She's making Travis Kelce very happy. He's having a good time. This is another one of those Bill Belichick with the 27-year-old girl. Who cares? She's living her best life. And the Chiefs they're not affected by her. They're not.
I mean, they are.
He's professional enough to keep it.
They are affected. I mean,
you think the Chiefs as a team?
Yeah.
Like on the field?
I don't know about on the field.
Well, then I don't care.
But she is the biggest superstar
arguably, but yeah, definitely.
Our world right now. She is the biggest superstar. And
My
when
4-year-old
she
loves her.
Comes to a game, she's brought so many new fans to football, to the NFL, like people that don't understand how the game works, everything else. Like, she has been kind of huge. So yes, I think she does affect like jersey sales for sure, for both Kelsey's like jersey sales skyrocketed. So she does have an effect.
That's weird.
I don't think the players on the field are affected by her if she shows up to a game.
Yeah.
Or if you might have like I don't know how many NFL players are actual Swifties, but there are probably a couple. So the few that are Swifties, like those Swifty guys, like, and like, that's okay. You're okay. It's okay to be a Swiftie.
I have to be a Swiftie because my daughter is a Swiftie.
Well,
and everything is
maybe
Taylor Swift.
Maybe the players are that too. Like, I mean,
I think the players appreciate a good time. It
definitely does change something.
Yeah.
I just don't. I can't quantify what it changes.
I see what you're saying. To me, it all comes down as a Chiefs fan and a lover of Super Bowl titles. I don't think Taylor Swift being at the games has any effect. I know a lot of fans dislike her, look, man, I can't argue with you that for whatever reason you don't like her. You don't like her music, okay, but I don't think she has a negative. I don't care if she's on the TV 3 or 4 times. I mean, that's really all it is. Her screen time.
That's what people get upset about, because they pan to her like multiple times, but they pan to. I mean, watching LA,
we're talking 3 minutes total screen time.
Well, and maybe it's a difference between us and Kansas City, whereas like people don't see stars showing up to Kansas City games.
That's true.
But
now it's the biggest star in the world.
Yeah. If you watch a Lakers game, they're freaking panning to the stars in the stands constantly, and they're making them part of the like show.
There's more stars in the stands there than there are players on the court. Yeah. Honestly, in LA,
yeah, and they're panning to them and their reactions. But Kansas City, we're a small market team. We've never had that type of thing. Yeah, we have Paul Rudd, right? Mm-hmm. Like, and he comes, and we have Jason Sudeikis, and we have those smaller time guys, right? That come in, and but I mean, anytime a super celeb is in the crowd, they're going to show it. I just don't think Kansas City fans ever have seen this, because we're not New York. We're not Dallas. We're not the San Francisco 49ers. We're not those guys. So we're not used to it. And I think that's where people get a little upset.
I'll tell you how it affects me. How Taylor Swift being at the game affects me. I'm a father of 3. I've got an almost 22-year-old daughter who's never had the slightest interest in sports. She did try to play soccer for probably 2 or 3 minutes, and that was over. And I've got a 15-year-old son who probably hates sports ball more than his older sister, right? And then I've got a 4-year-old.
But he loves Fortnite.
He does love Fortnite. He loves video games, and he's very good at that. And then I have a 4-year-old who absolutely adores Taylor Swift. And, you see the videos of the dads and daughters watching the game together. She doesn't have any clue what's happening, but as soon as Taylor Swift comes on that TV, she's jumping up and down. Daddy, it's Taylor Swift at the Chiefs game. I love the Chiefs game. And that, to me, that's everything. That's how it affects me. So if you want to ask me how Taylor Swift affects the Chiefs game, I don't care that she's on, man. Like, it only affects me in a positive way. So, and there's zero negative to it.
For someone
other than a little poo-poo by the fans. That's really all it is.
For someone with a grown daughter who doesn't care about sports ball and everything, I don't care about Taylor Swift being in, and honestly, I think it's a pretty cool thing to see Taylor Swift, most of her, she's going to be dead after this because she's had all these, wimpy boys that she's written tons of music about after they break up, and now she's got a real man, and now she's not going to have any breakup stories to talk about.
Yeah,
because
her music career's over.
She's getting
a good guy.
She is getting married. She's had these wimpy boys that's all Hollywood and
drama.
They have to offer, and now she's with a man's man, and she is like, "Well, this is what I want."
Yeah,
and
she's in love.
So I'm interested to see what her next album's going to be, because it's going to be like,
I'm really happy today.
Got nothing to bitch about because my man is amazing and he's sticks up for me.
She put him in her show. She put him in her show, right?
Multiple times.
She did and then there was rumors about a breakup, which, whatever, with big time couples, that happens all the time. You never know what to take from it. So then, what was it, last night or a few nights ago, she had a show and she did, although Kelsey doesn't have a signature touchdown move, he does the arrow pose a lot. So she did that on stage just a few nights ago. So, and
then Kelsey carried her.
He did.
Yeah.
That was a big move. I can't believe that her security let that happen.
Yeah,
on stage, across the stage, all over the stage.
I would say this is huge for Kansas City sports, and I understand if you don't like it, but you should embrace it.
I can appreciate. I can appreciate,
and you can tell me how dumb I am. Tell me how dumb I am. Write it in the comments.
I don't want to hear it because I think it's absolutely. Tell us what you think. We'll talk about it. But if you don't agree with us, you're probably wrong.
That's just my opinion. I could be wrong. All right, what do we got? What do we got next?
The player spotlight. So it's kind of getting difficult to come up with singular play. I don't want to just come out with Patrick Mahomes because he's the best, right? So I decided today we're going to do a little different thing with the player of the week. What we're actually going to highlight today is the offensive line. There's the top 100 NFL players, right? And the Chiefs have 7 players in the top 100, which is huge, right? Can you guess who the number 1 player in the NFL was?
Well, Mahomes.
Okay, right.
I feel like 7's low, though.
You think?
Yeah.
I don't think so.
All right.
I don't think so. When you're considering, I mean, there's 53 guys on every team. There's 32 teams. That's a lot of guys, right? 32 teams. If there's 7 people on each team, that's 210.
We lost Steve.
That's a big number. So yeah, Patrick Mahomes, top honors. You can probably guess who the other offensive player is.
Kelsey.
Yep, absolutely. Besides the O-line that we're going to talk about, there was a couple defensive players, Jones and defensive back. I should have wrote it down here in the notes, but I was talking about the O-line. McDuffie, yeah. So the 3 offensive line. Then we got Creed Humphrey, we got Joe Tooney, and Trey Smith. So Creed Humphrey was the only one of the three at linemen that actually broke the top 50. He was number 48. But what a season he had, man. This guy. He's listed as a top center in the league. He didn't allow a sack on Mahomes in the Super Bowl against the Eagles, and they had recorded the most sacks in the regular season. So, and he's only entering his fourth season in the league. So we got a long time to look forward to with him.
I mean, Creed Humphrey is like the only reason like we couldn't get a trade deal for Jason Kelsey, because Jason Kelsey was amazing, but he's not better than Creed Humphrey.
I know, man. I know. How fun would that have been,
They even talked about that on New Heights podcast. He's like, well, yeah, okay, well, there's no way I'm going over Creed Humphrey.
So Joe Tooney, now he's entering his 9th season in the NFL, but the 4th season with the Chiefs, and he also didn't allow a sack on Patrick Mahomes in the Super Bowl against the Eagles, who had recorded the most sacks in the regular season. And Trey Smith came in, and Joe Tooney was number 86 out of 100. And then Trey Smith, he was number 90. And he's also entering his 4th season and didn't allow a sack against the Eagles, who had the most sacks in the regular season. They had 70 sacks through the season, and they couldn't get to Mahomes in the Super Bowl. So that's pretty awesome.
So we're saying three. Okay, so let's 3 of our main 7 in the top 100 are offensive linemen. So we've got those.
Mm-hmm.
Then we got Mahomes. So we got Kelsey.
Mm-hmm.
We got McDuffie.
Jones.
And we have Chris Jones.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know, man. George Karlaftis feels like he should be in the top 100. I mean, he is like, yeah, a lot of his stuff comes from coverage sacks, but
we're also talking about linebackers and how many linebackers are there.
Well,
there's a lot of linebackers.
Bolton. Like, why is Bolton not on that list? Bolton's an unbelievable linebacker.
Yeah.
And then I think about who else? Our kicker. Our kicker's not considered
That's
in the
really
top
good.
100?
I don't. Maybe they left off special teams off the list. I'm not sure.
Because, like, he's one of the most amazing kickers in the league.
He is.
Like, if not the best.
Though he's really unpopular right now. Yeah.
Yeah, who cares? I don't care. Like, if you guys care about people's political beliefs, then, yeah, that's just silly. We're talking about sports. But yeah, there's so many. Dude, was Reed on the list, but he's not a Chief anymore?
I didn't look that up. I'm going to be honest with you. I didn't check that. I was literally trying to put my notes together. So
see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Because like there's
it's a good discussion point though.
There's so much.
There are a lot of players that you kind of feel got snuffed. But when you consider you're talking 100 players throughout the NFL, there's a lot of your favorite guys are going to get snuffed. It just
you're gonna.
If
the
you
fact that we
out,
have 3 linemen in there, offensive linemen, that's kind of huge because
that's amazing.
They're unsung heroes. Mm-hmm. So if they're in the top 100, that's actually pretty amazing. Now that you think about it, because defensive linemen, they have stats to show. Like
now, Mahomes also has a lot to contribute to those 3 getting. You know what I mean? Like Mahomes is very mobile. He's elusive. He gets rid of the ball real fast. So he makes them look just as good as they make him look. It's kind of they're patting each other on the back. But still,
I don't know. I'll take you back to that Buccaneers Super Bowl, and I'll tell you that those linemen are the ones making Mahomes looking good. Mahomes can't do shit if he can't. I mean, like we even saw Mahomes in that Super Bowl threw a pass while he was perpendicular
to the ground.
He was parallel to the ground. He was literally sideways, and he couldn't make it happen. So,
Well,
yeah,
it was,
the offensive
that
lineman,
ball was
I
on
think,
target 40
make
yards
him-
down the line.
I know, and he still couldn't make it happen
Well, it was the
with
receiver.
the line breaking up.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
So,
the line failed him.
Yeah, so
Sure.
I'll actually go back and say these linemen really helped Mahomes to get to the level he needs to get to. Without them, that's where we see a lot of quarterbacks come in and never have a career ever.
Yeah, I think a lot of teams get stuck in that. Oh, we've got the greatest elusive quarterback in the world now. We don't need to put so much money into our O-line, and then you get Andrew Luck type situation where quarterback just wants to leave.
And I mean, Luck could have had an amazing career, but he just got beat up. And
that poor guy.
We think about even when the Texans came back and got added back to the league. Carr, David Carr. Wait, is it David Carr?
Yeah, David Carr. Yeah.
His brother's in the league now, but yeah, David Carr. I mean, he looked good. He could have been good, but in the wrong system. That's why it's really crazy. You look back at Eli Manning's dad's cringe thing where he basically made him trade and said that my son's not going to play for your team.
That was awesome.
But it was smart.
Yeah.
Eli would have never had a ring had he not done that. And it's
thank you, Tom Brady.
Yeah. So I would argue that those three offensive linemen make Mahomes look amazing.
I mean, I can't argue that you're wrong. I absolutely can't argue you're wrong. I'm just saying, that one hand gives to the other. They both kind of pat each other on the back. Patrick Mahomes has that amazing throw that he can do down the line, so that allows the offensive linemen to do their job better. So yeah, I mean, absolutely, you're right. So we're lucky. We've talked about it a few times now. I think we've probably said it in each episode so far. We are so lucky to be Kansas City fans right now. What a great time to be a fan. So.
We are living the dream.
And for those of you that aren't fans, it's a great time to be a hater too. Honestly, there's so much to hate on.
Leave your hate in the comments below.
Love to see it. Besides that, I think that's it. That's about all we got.
Yeah. We got stuff coming up. Gonna be going to the
training camp.
Yep, training camp. I'm gonna try my hardest to trick people into giving us interviews, and we'll see what we can get there. And this is the first year we're doing it. We're gonna have to try to build, but all the sports you guys can give us, and honestly, the talking points would be huge. We want you guys to send in emails, send in comments, let us know what we can do differently.
What do you want to
hear?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, and you can find us all over the place. Everything's not completely set yet.
We're getting there, though.
Yeah, we're getting there. But we've got Instagram, we've got Facebook. Everything's BuknBob, BuknBob. Twitter, everything.
X.
Yeah, find us wherever and let us know what you want to talk about. And we're excited to go forward. And also, if you want to come on and talk with us, let us know. I'm not saying that we'll let you, but we might.
We definitely might.
All right, well, that's going to be it for this episode. Buck, where can we find you?
On Twitter at Bucktastic. It's BUK_TASTIK. And of course on Facebook, Bucktastic.
All right. You can find me on Twitter at Blazin_Bob. It's BLAZZIN_BOB. And we'll see you the next time.
Maybe we'll see you at training camp. Come and find us.
Yeah, that'd be cool.